Good morning. How is everybody? Mike and Arlen, our Philippine journey. Let's see how on a rainy, nasty day here in Angeles City, Philippines, if anybody will even show up. It'll be interesting. It's been an interesting week no matter what. We always have an interesting week. There's always something going on somewhere, somehow. Arlen stays busy. I stay busy. We all get to those types of things. Let's see here. We need to bring this piece up. Ricky Last is here. Good morning, Ricky. Hope you're doing well. That's for sure. I hope everybody's doing well. We've had quite a bit of rain, a lot of flooding. Nothing here. We're all fine. That's for sure. But it's been a unique morning, a unique week. That's for sure. Brian, Philly in the Philippines. Good morning, Brian. How are you? Brian, I watched lots video yesterday about going to the barangay and everything that you go through. And I still find it kind of amazing, to be honest with you, how assumptions are made by people and how it impacts time and everything else that goes along with it. I wish you guys, I know you guys have got your ducks in a row, so I really do wish that gets resolved quickly for you guys. That's for sure. It's still raining here. Got up this morning, still raining. It comes, it goes. It's not heavy, but it is what it is. That's for sure. Slick Rick from San Francisco. Good morning, Rick. How are you? Hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining us. That's for sure. Oh, my God. What a special guest here. Maximus is here this morning. Good morning, Maximus. Thank you. Thanks for dropping in. Hope you're doing well. I really do. I haven't seen, you're not in Angeles right now, are you? Aren't you back in the States right now, Maximus? Sean, thank you for joining us. Good morning from Antipolo. Wow. There's some really nice areas out in Antipolo. Nice place. Really and truly is. Thank you for coming in, Sean. Brewmeister. How you doing, Brew? How are things going? I hope they're doing well for you. James Gilbert. Good morning, James. How are things? How's the weather where you're at? We haven't had any flooding. In fact, we haven't even had much accumulation on the street, to be honest with you. Just a lot of rain. It's been draining quite well, which is sort of unusual. Rick, Mike, how bad is the rain in your neck of the woods? Well, it's been raining. It is lightened up. Instead of raining all day, it rains for an hour. Not super heavy rain, but then it goes away. But what we get, if you can imagine when you lived in the mountains or you've been to the mountains, how sometimes the clouds will pass through and it's a mist. We've been getting that, which is sort of unusual. We'll have these banks of mist that just come through and soak everything down. So not so bad. Certainly can deal with it. Maximus in Chicago for the summer. Loved Chicago. I used to have to go there quite a bit. Actually love Chicago. I hope you're having a good time up there. Scott F., good morning. How are you, Scott? Thanks for joining. Tim Diziak, good morning, Tim. Maximus says he's going to head back sometime in September. Best time to come. Best time, October, November, December, January. That's my personal opinion. So other people like other things. Barry Graham. Good morning, Barry. How are you? Thank you for joining. Thanks for coming by. Luke Dog, 37. Good morning from Los Angeles. Thanks so much, Luke. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. Paul Rogers, my CRNA friend. Good morning, Mike. Hope all is well. Love the channel. Keep keeping it on. Tally ho. Thank you so much, Paul. We certainly appreciate it. We really do appreciate encouraging words. I know that sounds kind of self-centered or narcissistic, but honestly, we like to know that we're doing a reasonable job. We like to know it. So we're going to wait probably about another 10 minutes before we start on the actual subject of, is the Philippines the misfit island? Do you remember, for those of you, I'll give you a little sneak peek preview. There's a cartoon movie, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, one of those, I can't remember which one, but it goes when they go to Misfit Island to see the Misfit Toys. Are we full of misfit toys here? Is that part of the process, that the expats are misfits? Is that who comes to the Philippines? Because the reason I say that is everybody watches everybody. I have a handful of channels that I routinely watch. I have a lot of channels that I occasionally watch or keep up with. And so you can't help but sometimes you get a catchphrase. Somebody says something and that phrase just sticks with it. And lately, one of the things that's been out there is America doesn't send its best. America's not sending their best and brightest to the Philippines. And I thought about that, and I'm like, well, hold on a second. America doesn't send squat. America doesn't send shit. These people choose to come here. But as I was trying to think about how to phrase or talk about that, because I didn't want it to be derogatory, I know what they meant. But is this full of misfits? And, I thought that would be interesting. And also, I have a request. I absolutely have a request. So I'm working on a video, and I'm not going to give you any of the specifics. And but what it boils down to is this: if you are on Social Security, if you are on SSDI, if you are on whatever, okay, a pension, either email us, and you can email us right here, okay? Wrong one, but I wouldn't have, I'm not going to argue with hitting the subscribe and like. There we go. Wait a second. Whoops. There we are. Email us. I want to know what's your budget. I want to know how much are you receiving, and here's why. We'll keep this totally anonymous. Nobody else is going to know. All right. But I want to know, and you're going to be surprised at why. You're going to be surprised when you see the actual video. I promise you, you will. But I need that information, because I don't believe that the information that's being given by the United States government about what the average is accurate. And oh my goodness, we got our first thumbs down. We certainly appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much for that thumbs down. Every thumb up, thumb down, comment, all of it helps the algorithm. So we're happy with that. Thank you so much. Now, let's catch back up before we go into it. Los Angeles, Paul. James says there's no flooding in our housing area, but not so in other places in town, just on and off rain. Well, good. I'm glad, James, that there's no flooding in your area. That's for sure. Been rain in the Buckeye State, too. Oh, wow. I didn't know that. I was talking to my daughter this morning. She's in Virginia. They're doing fine. Barry says, I'd fit right in. I'm a total misfit toy. There you go. Well, actually, maybe not. Okay. And we'll get into that because I think people take that title literally and not actually how that movie intended it to be. But Izzy and Chris, if I was filthy rich, I wouldn't be in the Philippines. My ass would be in Monaco or Cyprus. There you go. Well, you'd have to be filthy rich to live in Monaco unless you are generationally endowed with a decent place from years before it got to be so famous. That's for sure. Unfortunately, most countries do not send, Horace says, most countries do not send their best and brightest to the Philippines. Mostly people come to reinvent themselves through vlogging. I won't name names. You have a few near you. Well, yeah, I can't disagree with that in its overall look. That's for sure. But I think we need to remember, I think that vloggers are a very small percentage of the total number of expats, number one. And then number two, more so, vloggers are driven by a narcissistic need and an egotistical need. So, for instance, you know, they want to be the where-all, the with-all, all right? You know what? We'll just leave it at that until we get into this whole thing. Horace, oh, please name names. I keep the drama going. There you go. Brian wants to know, who are the vloggers that have reinvented themselves? And we have an open book. It's open here. Your comments are more than welcome. You can name names. You don't have to be rude about it. All right. Maximus, you might get a lower than average amount since a lot of the expats in the Philippines moved here because their Social Security was not enough to cover it. Well, yeah, absolutely. I know that it won't be statistical. And that's not what we're going to be doing, Maximus. We're not going to say this is what it is or anything else. But what we are, all right, I will tell you, I'll give you a brief teaser. All right. I spoke with, Arlene and I went to dinner the other night. We, and some friends, and they wanted to go have a drink. So we went and had a drink, and I had an opportunity to actually talk privately, all right, where to several entertainers. And these are entertainers that we've known for a long, long time. And I pulled each one of them aside, and I said, look, just between us, all right? We're not going to name names. We're not going to do that. Nothing at all, all right? But how much do you make a month on average in just in the bar business? So in other words, don't count your sponsors, your 3 LDRs, your this, your that. Just between your salary, your commissions, your tips, and your bar fines. How much a month are you bringing home on average? All right. That's why I want to know what other people that are on fixed incomes are looking at. And I can certainly understand, you know. Dano says, sorry, Mike, I will not share our income with all of you. I don't, you know what, Dano, I don't blame you in any way, shape, or form. As I said, it's totally voluntary, you know, be as anonymous as you want. Just simply, if somebody wants to share it or people want to share it, just email us to Our Philippine Journey. Also, I want a special shout out here for a Ranger for Collectors, one of our subscribers, really nice guy. He had a health issue. That's why we haven't seen him. He's back in the States, got it fixed, and we look forward to his return very shortly. Thank you. Had to show that, had to bounce that out there. So Maximus, the ones in the Philippines which might be on the lower spectrum of the scale. Indeed, but they're here. And so how are we going to compare that? Mazo, thumbs up every day and twice on Sunday. Always a great show. Thank you, Mazo. And thanks for joining us. How are things going in your neck of the woods? What is, Izzy and Chris, what is the average subscriber? According to the Department of Labor, the average, not the statistical mean, but the average, which is, you know the difference between a mean and a regular average, but the average Social Security payment is $1,950. That's what they claim is the average. So I want to know what people here are claiming. Paul, Mike, we haven't chatted lately, but I still watch your videos. And Paul, that's great. You know, we appreciate everybody. We have a great community of viewers and subscribers. And the amount that you guys chip in, help with each other, give advice, sometimes you correct me when I'm wrong, and it happens. We always appreciate it. Barry Gordon, maybe they need to be great and powerful. Oz, the blogger. Yeah, indeed. And it gets funny, but they are what they are. I mean, YouTube is either information and you can take it or leave it for how accurate it is, or it's entertainment. And entertainment, quite frankly, outdoes information almost always. The drama channels, the gossip channels, the reaction channels, they all do well. And I don't give them any shit because, you know something, it's a niche. It's what they choose to do. And people watch it. People love it. So why be what it is? Horace is not judging. We all have our reasons. I snowbird here to visit my expat uncle and adoptive father and his new family. And that's perfect, Horace. That's absolutely perfect. Nobody is discounting that. That's for sure. I think vloggers is a fad right now. Eventually, younger than 55s will need to get a job. I think they already need to get a job. But, there are those people that are willing to live a simpler life with less income, and they're happy with it. So be it. Whatever they want. Izzy and Chris, I'm getting DOD retirement. I'm only 37, so I have a few decades before I can draw. And even DOD retirement, okay? At what is that? I mean, I guess what I'm really asking is I don't even need to know how much you make. What I want to know is, what do you live off of? In other words, we don't tell people what we make. And we really don't tell people how much we live off of either, because I just don't see that would end up well. But, what are people's monthly budgets? I want to compare that to what a Filipino bar girl makes. So, Horace, but I do believe if you come here broke, going by your standard, you'll live here broke in the States. And I'm considered very comfortable. Let's leave it at that. And you know something, Horace? I think you're right. I really and truly think you're right. If you're broke here, you're definitely broke in the States. I think. Sam Sag, apparently the new drainage is working on Red Street. I don't know. We haven't been down there. We were out last week for a couple of hours. It wasn't raining hard. There was no standing water. Other than that, we haven't even looked at Red Street. In the past month, once. That's it. California Bear, good morning. Thanks for joining us. Izzy, that's a little over 100,000 pesos. If you're good with money, that can work in the Philippines to a Western standard. So there you go. So now I got to write a little note. All right. I have a categories, 100,000 pesos, 200,000 pesos, 300,000. So 100K, and I have one at that. Maximus, then you have the expats that are on SS, military retirement pension, and VA, which will skew the. Oh, yeah, without a doubt, Maximus. We know a guy who's on military retirement and 120%, he says, disability. So, I mean, he skews it completely. And so we wouldn't deal with it. Look, I can come here and be anything I want to be. If you believe me, I'll sell you a bridge over troubled waters. Thanks, Barry. And true. That's very, very true. Yep. Good morning. Top of the morning, Mike, you and Arlen. Doc, as always, who loves you, baby? Hey, Dave, how are you doing? Hope you're doing well. I really and truly do. Jose Rodriguez, good day. Hey, Jose, how you doing? Mike, does it matter if the bar girl is not? Yes, it does. It does. And I'm going to tell you, God, this is going to sound terrible, isn't it? All four of these bar girls are, in our opinions, my opinion, okay, solid 7.5 to 9s, okay? Maybe even a 10 in there, okay? They are, but you have to understand, we're not chasing tail, all right? We're not chasing these girls to get in bed with them. So our opinion is based not so much physically as it is personality. All right. Their personality, their honesty, their truthfulness. I may even do a video about it sometime. But yes, it does. I mean, obviously, if I'm going to, if I were to pull aside a bar girl and say, you know what, honestly, tell me, how much do you make as a bar girl? And she weighs 200 kilos. Well, that would definitely skew things, I would think. So, yeah. Not that there aren't men that love thicker women, I guess. Maximus, Ricky Drama might have all three income streams: Social Security, military pension, and VA disability. Ricky always says he's in the 7K plus after taxes. Good for, you know what? Sick Grandpa, Ricky Drama. I actually enjoy his little short videos. I think they're good. I think they're funny. Oftentimes, I don't even know the people he's talking about, but some of them are quite entertaining, I guess is the best word. And that's what I was talking about. YouTube can be just entertaining. Sealander Adventures. Well, thanks for joining us again. Let's see here. Jack King, often in the Philippines. I'm making a killing on YouTube. 1 nickel at a dime. Good morning, Jack. How are you? I see Heidi and the puppies are doing well. I do watch you. I don't comment. I do watch Jack. I like Jack because, and you may want to watch him. Jack is a crusty old Marine who, quite frankly, doesn't give a shit. And in turn, he doesn't have any problem voicing his opinion on what is right and what is wrong. And quite often, it's hard to disagree with him. Michael Atas. Hey, Michael. Thank you for the email. We'll keep it quiet right now. That's for sure. Hope you're doing well. Michael sends some of the most, sometimes Michael has some of the most unique, I guess is the best word, comments in the comment section. Paul Henderson, Mike, you're quite wealthy by standards of expats to BI. You live quite differently than most. It's difficult. Yeah, but I'm not comparing it to us, Paul. I'm not going to compare it to us. I want to compare it, and I'm not comparing it. What I'm saying is if they can live on this, can you live on that? And then the second thing I want to say, because I know this is true, this girl makes more than you do in some instances. Now, we don't want to know how much you make, so I guess I'm never going to really make that statement. But, just to sit there and say, Michael, SSDI is the best Social Security payout. It's the same as retirement at age 67. Wow. That's nice. That's nice, as long as you deal with it. I got all that red light crap out of my system at Camp Casey, South Korea, a long time ago. It's sad life to live, chasing poor women. You know what, Izzy? It is, if you're chasing them. It's hard for me to comment on that because we don't chase them. All right. We talk to them. We have fun laughing and joking and making fun of people. I don't know. I guess because we're not seen as a predator. We're not seen as a customer, as a client, as a possible bar fine. It makes us look a little different, or their interactions with us are a little different. Dave, pertaining to our last phone conversation, Doc, I have not had a single craving for alcohol since the lab results. Dave got some lab results. They were not the best. They weren't horrendous, and I'm not going to say anything else other than I asked him, you know what, maybe it's time you curtail your alcohol intake significantly. And I'm glad to hear that, Dave. I'm glad that you're able to get through it. Dave and I chat on the phone. We know each other. Hey, Dave, is your buddy Mike still around and well? I don't know where Mike is. Dave may know. Dave may have been in contact with him. That's a good question. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but performance is the price. There you go. Solicitation of prostitution is against the law in the Philippines. Yeah, it is. Begging, giving money to beggars is against the law in the Philippines. Littering is against the law in the Philippines. Let's see here. Oh, as Brian just found out, riding your scooter without a helmet is against the law in the Philippines. You just found that out, didn't you, Brian? And you knew it. That's just it. You did know it. And everybody else knows solicitation's against the law. All right? And to keep something else in mind, one thing to keep in mind is that not all bar fines result in intimate interaction. All right? We know several guys that are just no longer, I guess, capable at that point in their life of intimate interaction, and they still bar fine girls just for the company. Yeah, Ricky finds the smaller startup channels many have never heard about. I don't know where he finds these guys. I don't know where he finds them either, but he gives them great PR. I don't think why anybody should be upset. Gail, great. Thanks for dropping in, Gail. Hi, having a budget and sticking to it is vital to surviving. I never put all my eggs in one basket, and keeping your investments going in the country of your origin. Yes, indeed, it is. It is. Ruby, my gosh, our incredibly intelligent Filipino Ruby is here in the channel. Ruby, are you still in Angeles? Are you back in Angeles? I met Ruby and her husband a couple of times. They have a home over by Marquee Mall, and that's all we'll say. Are you back in the Philippines, or are you just hanging out? Expat Prepper, YouTube is for killing time. If you base your life on AdSense, you're misled. Indeed. Indeed. If we relied on YouTube and AdSense, and even stickers and super chats and things like that for an income, we'd be living under the bridge with the Abaca tribe. We would not be, and even then we'd probably be poorer than most of them. James says 100,000 pesos a month, very easy budget to manage from here. I don't always spend that in a month. Okay, which is 100K. Philly, but the government here turns a blind eye. Mike, she'll only be able to make that amount of money for just a handful of years. Then she gets kicked to the curb. It's possible. It's possible, but what amount of money? That's the real issue. But you know what? Question is not how much they earn each month, but how much they save each month or set aside. Or do they spend all that earnings in a month and no substantial emergency fund set aside? And you know something, Ruby? Once we get done with that, we're going to talk to them about how they plan. The same girls, the same budgets, how they plan for their future. Kuya Dave's Adventures. Hey, my friend. Hiya, Kuya Dave. Thanks for dropping in. Hope you're doing well. Ask this. How many? Okay, Michael. All right. Michael, SSDI is also depending on age and how much they have paid into SS for how long. Yeah, there's a whole lot of stuff to it. Dave says he's not had any contact with Mike since November 2024. He was doing well back then. Other than that, I have no clue what he's up to or what he's doing. Still in Australia working. Ruby's an engineer. She is an educated Filipina, smart woman, very nice. Her husband's a very nice guy as well. So, no bar fines in Cebu City. Mango Square. You cut a deal with the gal. She pays the bar the next day or the next few hours. Speaking for a friend, don't do pay to play. Okay. All right. So before we go on, is the Philippines Misfit Island? So I was telling you earlier, there's a kids cartoon that I can remember watching every year with my daughter. All right. And it's, you know, every year the TV channels in the U.S., they have these like marathons of cartoon Christmas stuff and Christmas movies and everything else. And in one of them, it's Rudolph Goes to Misfit Island. All right. And so what's Misfit Island? Well, Misfit Island is where all the toys that are broken or aren't correct go. So if some toy was supposed to be like they had the train that can only go in circles, it can't go down a straight track. They had the doll that was missing an eye. They had a stuffed toy like a lion that had wings. and no lion has wings, so it's a broken toy. Well, are expats broken? And that's why they come to the Philippines. Now that's the premise. So is the Philippines where broken expats go? So I thought to myself, okay, what are broken expats? So I got to get my notes here. All right, well, you know what? You can have people that are emotionally broken. You can have people that are physically broken. You can have people that are financially broken. And yes, as Jack King and several others have pointed out, you can have people that are mentally broken. Philly will give you a list of a few himself. All right? Well, yeah, but I think then we miss the point of Misfit Island. The point of Misfit Island was all about acceptance, a place to go where people accepted. And is that what it is? It now acceptable for emotionally broken people to come here? Is it accepted that not acceptable, but are they accepted? That's the better way to say it. Are people accepted here because they're mentally broken or because they're financially broken in their home country or because they're emotionally broken, and they're looking for companionship and love that they couldn't get or didn't get or got screwed over in? I think part of that might be fair because you can tend to sometimes see, I love to observe people. And when I do this, sometimes we see individuals that exhibit the same traits grouped together. Now, doesn't mean they can't recover. Well, of course they can. All right. And let me see here. What you don't see, you don't see the vast majority of normal, sane, well-adjusted people on YouTube. You simply do not. And you guys cannot argue that. You can't argue that there are quite a number of what I would call bankrupt, and I don't mean financially, although some of them may be, but morally or mentally bankrupt individuals. These things are there. And so, yeah, does the Philippines attract it? Well, Thailand does also. I've seen that there. I don't know about Vietnam and Cambodia, but certainly. So, I mean, I don't know. You guys are going to have to tell me what you think about it. No, Bar finds 4,018 is the maximum 2025 for SDI. So, but a person that is 21 got disabled and can no longer work will not automatically get that amount due to his age and how much he put into it. Yeah, I imagine there is, rules and limitations. My total monthly fixed cost in the U.S. is $1,300. I feel it'll be the same in Mindanao. Okay. So in the so you're saying you're going to live on $1,300, Mike. So we'll put $1,500 and below. Misfit of Big Boss. Good morning, Big Boss. Nice to see you. The Island of Misfit Toys is a great analogy. Thanks. I don't ask me. You know what? Every now and then, every once in a while, every dog gets a bone. All right. Thank you. I came up with a good idea. Defective toys. Max was defective toys is like defective expats. Certainly it can be. That's for sure. Restel says, paying the bar girl who pays the bar to get out of work is called a bar fine. It is. It is. And that is absolutely correct. Restel, it's funny. Arstel has been around for a long time, and his dad prior as well. So, I mean, it used to be that there were GROs, actually licensed guest relation officers. No more. They're just now licensed employees assigned to the bar. And Arstel will tell you, in the olden days, it was a early release, okay, or a bar fine is when you pay the bar. Early release and bar fine were the same. So, there's a whole lot. Time has changed the words of a lot of things. Sup, Big Boss? Big Boss Man. Same here, Big Boss. Okay, everybody's saying hello. You live long enough and you will be broken one way or another. No one is exempt. I do not think. I think you're right, Maximus. We all face trials and tribulations in our life. Okay? We all face that. Now, how we handle those trials and tribulations. I love to say how we handle it. Sometimes, though, we don't have a choice. There are so many men, and this is just the God's honest truth. There are so many men who are a victim of a weaponized child support, alimony, whatever system in the U.S. Now, I don't know about Australia. I don't know how it works in the U.K. I got no idea. But in the U.S., it can be highly weaponized. And a vengeful woman can weaponize their own children against them. So, yeah, you're right, Maximus. It can be. And quite frankly, it's not always their fault. Arstel, you can negotiate in Mango Square because the majority of the girls are college students. The girls don't work for the bar, just themselves. Yeah, freelancers, I guess you want to call them to whatever you want. The extent to how broken someone is, the question, is everyone is broken one way or another. And yeah, I think that's, Maximus makes a really important point. It's the extent to how broken they are. And then we go back and we say, are they broken enough that they reinvent themselves? Do they become something they never were? Do they become a totally different person saying, I did this and I have these problems and I'm just going to shut that into a shoebox, shove it under the bed. All right, I'm going to let the cat piss on it. I'm going to throw it outside, let the dog chew it up, whatever. And I'm going to be this new person. Does that happen? I don't know. Okay, not here to argue. You can be right. You do you. James says, I'm not broken, just some dents and scratches. There you go. All right, you're not like that brand new. You know what, James? You're not like that brand new 1966 Shelby GT, but don't you wish you were worth what a brand new, fully documented, matching serial numbers, all right, with an official Shelby GT title would be? You can be scratched and dented and that thing still be worth a fortune. Copal, good morning, Mike. I think there is a percentage of broken folks everywhere. The thing is they find a way to stand out more than, and you know what? I think Copal's right. When you center your perception of the Philippines, when your perception of the Philippines comes strictly from YouTube or TikTok or Facebook, you are going to get a biased and skewed perception. Unless you get out there and you go to the provinces, you go to the islands, you go to Palawan, to El Nido, all right? You know what? Let me rephrase that. You can go to El Nido, you can go to Bohol, you can go to Panglao, you can go to Coron, you can go to Boracay, you can go to Surigao Island. And that's not all. You can go all of those and you still haven't seen a large section of the Philippines. Those are tourist destinations. They are made for tourists. They entertain tourists, all right, until you go to places that are normal, all right, you don't get a good look at the Philippines from Angeles City or from Manila or from BGC, for God's sakes. No. So, yeah, percentage of find a way to stand out. Curtis, I call the damaged goods. Hello from Mindanao, Zamboanga del Norte. Oh, Curtis, how's things in Zamboanga del Norte? I saw you guys have been in the news about something with the mayor down there and a vlogger in that area. I can't remember everything, but thank you. Ironic that most Filipinos who migrate to first world countries are usually highly skilled or professionals. When they retire and return to the Philippines, they live a very comfortable lifestyle. Sure they do. They absolutely do. I was amazed to find out how poorly paid professionals in the medical industry in the Philippines are. Really. I don't know why any of them work in the Philippines. Not broken here. I just need a little body work. Yeah, I need a lot of body work, big boss. I really do. Just as long as the tool isn't broken, then we're good. Gail says, the Philippines is open to a lot of military people who are honorably discharged. Does that mean that PTSD isn't prevalent in that crowd? Imagine what they have seen in there. Oh, I'm not saying anything's bad about that, Gail. Nobody here has said anything about that. Okay? Nobody has said anything that even remotely indicates that. Please, and I don't think that just because somebody has PTSD makes them broken. I don't think so. I know guys with PTSD that are fine. All right? They have issues, but they're fully functional and fine. I don't think PTSD defines that. I came here for my health. Finding a girlfriend was a bonus. There you go. Anything that adds to and does, my health has improved a great deal, and it can be. It certainly can. Michael, my new retirement plan after 2008 crash, I lost many rental houses during this event. You could not rent a house during this time, so I married a Filipina to make up for lost time and money. There you go. Whatever works for you, all right? That's what we tell people. We tell people, come to the Philippines, spend 2 months. Go to at least 4 or 5 places. Spend at least a week in each one of those places. And if at that point in time you haven't found something that fits you perfectly, wash and repeat next year. And then if you do find a place that you think is perfect, come back, spend 3 months there, nonstop. And then you decide. Hello, Mike. Hello, Mike. I'm worth maybe a 66 Beetle. I had a 66 Beetle, James. I honestly did. I'll tell you this is a true story. All right. So when I was in school, I had a 66 Beetle, air cooled, whole 9 yards. Okay. The engine block cracked. And I was broke. I mean, I'm not going to lie. People, I lived on canned tuna, which back then was dirt cheap, saltine crackers. You used to get 11 boxes of Kraft mac and cheese for $1 or something like that. I don't know. Mac and cheese, all right, and ramen noodles, all right, in college and in undergraduate school. I had a 66 Beetle, and I was dead broke. All right? It was all I could do to afford tuition, books, the occasional date, things like that. The block on that engine cracked, and I didn't know what to do. I'm not a welder or anything, so what did I do? I took a chance. I don't know whether it would work in anything, but I walked into the emergency room at the hospital, parked in the parking lot, walked into the emergency room, got a bucket, filled it with water, and I put 7 rolls of cast. All right, plaster of Paris essentially is what it is. Cast material in that bucket, walked out and wrapped my engine block with that. And yeah, it still leaked oil and it still had issues, but I could easily drive 15, 20 miles out of whack for 2 years. 2 years I lived like that. So everything's repairable, James, everything. Everyone over the age of 40 comes with a salvage title, men included. There you go. Good morning, Richie Rich. Good morning, Richie. How are you? I hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining us. I came here for R&R and peace of mind. R&R and da. Maximus, I'm like the broken teacup in Japan, art of kintsugi that puts back the pieces together with lacquer mixed with gold. It highlights the cracks, breaks, but in an artistically beautiful way. There you are. Maximus, I like that. That's a really interesting way of putting it. Oh, working on the next video. I'm sure you are, Richie. You guys put out a lot of videos. Quite true. Both my father and I are retired U.S. Now, this is Arstel. My father's a Vietnam veteran who served in Vietnam, saw combat. I'm a Gulf War post 9/11. Yep, Arstel's been around. I mean, he's been here a long time. All right, he was literally brought up in this area. I'm not sure about any drama here in Zamboanga. We're near Diplog up north. Pretty calm up here. Nice. I can't remember. I just remember reading something was going on with somebody up there, but we'll see. Ronald Trung, I'm researching European cities and the amount of crime, drugs, and homelessness is suddenly making me want to live in the Philippines. Look, it's a problem everywhere. In the Philippines, we have drugs, we have crime, we have homelessness, and I think it's fairly undocumented, or I think it's fairly underdocumented. Maybe that's the better way to say it. But it's here. Come on over, spend some time, see. Don't forget to visit Philippines at different seasons. Wet and dry, yeah, that's a big difference. Like right now, if you came to Angeles City or Luzon, you would not be impressed at all. In fact, you'd be lucky to be in an area that isn't having massive flooding. 4 places in the Philippines is Bo's Coffee, Jollibee's, Robinson's Mall, and a stinky public fish market. Is that what you mean? Oh, I don't go to the stinky public fish markets. That's not true. I've been, but not something. I'm not going to kid anyone. I came here for the brownout, slow internet, skin tax, I think is what Brian means. Earthquakes, waiting in the bank for 5 hours to make one transaction. The list goes on and on. I'm telling you, Philly, let's see here. Brownout doesn't bother us. Our place has a generator backup. Slow internet doesn't bother me. I've got, gigabit internet. Skin tax. I send Arlene out to get stuff for that. All right. Earthquakes. I've never had an earthquake that did more than rattle the chandelier a little bit. Other than that, and I've never spent 5 hours in the bank, but it does happen. That's for sure. Opening up a bank account can take 2 to 3 hours. That's also for sure. Coming here during this time of year could be tough. November through June is best. I still love, November through June. Yeah, you know what, Richie? That's good. That's a great time. Curtis, to each their own. I moved to the Philippines 9 years ago, found my wife a year later. I didn't fly half the world to get a bar girl. I don't have to leave the USA to find them. No, you don't, Curtis. You absolutely do not. On the other hand, I think a lot of people are going to be surprised. Let's define. You know what? Let's start some drama. Let's just start some drama. Let's say, bar girls are worthless. Do you have any idea where these bar girls came from? They come from the province. Very rarely have we ever met a bar girl that was born and raised in Angeles City. And Angeles City is practically the capital of bar girls. So with that being said, all right, and let me just toss this back up here. All right. Please do like, subscribe, hit the like button. That being said, you think they weren't doing whatever it is in the province? You think pay for play in the province doesn't exist? If you do, you are so naive. You know something? Instead of paying a $4,000, $5,000, $7,000, I don't know how much a bar fine is nowadays, okay? There are girls in the province that are making a living 500 pesos at a time. And don't think otherwise. Don't think for a second, all right, otherwise. I'm not saying that all province girls are like that. I'm not saying majority of province girls are like that. But what I am saying is don't think that pay for play is relegated to Angeles City or to Flower Street, Mango Square in Cebu. Don't think for a minute that's only where it happens. Don't think it's just Pete Borges over in Makati. It's everywhere. It is absolutely everywhere. Don't kid yourself when you say, I'm going to go get a good province girl. You know something? All of these province girls, they go back to the province for months at a time. Months at a time. Now, I'm not saying anything, Curtis, about you or the girl that you met. Okay? She could be pure as, and I'm sure she is knowing you, Curtis, pure as the driven snow. All right? Or the cleanest rain. You're not going to get much driven snow here in the Philippines. But so many men, so many options. All right? You've got to, when we say you've got to be realistic, then you need to be realistic about the province as well. You need to be realistic about the number of college girls that pay for play, the number of grandmas that pay for play, the number of sorry girls, store owner girls that pay for play. If you think it's just bar girls, no. It's not. It absolutely is not. And I would argue that all day long. I really would. All good here in Zimbongo. Any news on Rob the Canuck? No, I haven't heard anything out of Rob. I hope he's doing well, Michael. Curtis, we're from Pinan by Diblog. Howdy, Betty and BT. Betty building a house down by Mount Arayat. Betty lives about 40 minutes outside of Angeles, him and Betty. They're building a house. Looking good, by the way, BT. I did not come here to find a woman, but my fiance latched on to me as soon as I passed her mother's background check. She's 25 and none like conservative at 25. She still answers to her mom. There you go. There are good people everywhere. I don't even want to call them good people. There are all types of men and women here. Just started to rain heavily. It's solid clouds and overcast outside, but nothing. Mike, you might be thinking of popular Filipino vlogger that was shot to death in Sulu. That's one of them, but yeah, I am aware of that one, Maximus, but I think there was a mayor's aide or brother of a mayor or something like that got gunned down coming out of a cafe in the Zamboanga area. But I could be wrong, Maximus. I could be. Paul says, I remember when I was stationed at Clark that during rainy season it rained every day, but usually only for an hour or so. It's been raining a lot. Let's just leave it at that. The older I get, I have my own brownout. Sometime sneaks up on you. Most of the bar girls from Samar and Leyte, we've met them from everywhere. We've met them from northern Luzon. We've met them from southern Mindanao. We've met them. They come from everywhere, Rick. But I think Rick is correct. I would think the largest amount that we often hear Samar. That's what we often hear. Let's do this. Let's open up the panel. Why don't we do that? Hang on just a second. And we are going to do that. So I'm going to put the link in. Let me know if you have a problem connecting or coming up on the link. But let's open up the panel and get people's ideas as to what's going on. 67 in the room. Thank you so much. 67, great for our little channel. That's a great show out. Curtis says, you're right. I've been here long enough to realize and see what you're talking about. I know several families who send their daughters up there to work. I met in Manila. Yeah, Curtis, they're all over. And there are great women out there. My wife, never been a bar girl, never a freelancer, nothing like that. Okay? There are great province girls out there. There are great educated women out there. But they come from everywhere. Pure as the driven snow. More like pure, like snow that's been driven on. There you go, Maximus. Wherever there are tourists in the Philippines, there's always going to be, Philly is absolutely correct. And it doesn't have to be tourists. There are no tourists in Kitcheneree. None. And I know for a fact that pay for play exists. All right? I know it exists in Kitcheneree. So, bar girl or not, it comes down to the character of the person. No different than locals. Yes, it does. It absolutely does. Sean, you are 100% right on target. I don't care if you are a plumber, a pipe layer, an electrician, or if you lay pipe. All right? It's all about the person. And judging them is a tough thing to do. And it isn't often fair. The relationship secret, if mama doesn't like you, oh yeah, no kidding. If you can't get accepted, even minimally, by their family, you don't stand a chance in the long run. Maximus, there was Basta Duterte who challenged, who accepted the challenge to a boxing match, set the date, to fight. Yeah, they were supposed to fight yesterday, the 27th. And he went to, so he's the mayor of Davao. He's ex-President Duterte's son, if I'm not mistaken, or might be a cousin, but I think it's his son. All right, one of his sons. He made a comment. To the chief of the Philippine National Police, and they then he challenged them to a boxing match to put his money where his mouth is, and then said, okay, and you know what? We'll do this for charity. And they got sponsors and everything for charity. I just read they raised 20 million pesos, all right, for the flood victims of Manila, all right, and maybe other places as well. They raised 20 million without the boxing match even taking place, because the guy that's the mayor of Davao took off for Singapore and said, I have family commitments. Then he has set conditions. First, he tried to set conditions. He says, yeah, I'll buy box, but you and your entire police force have to take DNA, hair follicle drug testing. I mean, come on. You're talking about thousands and thousands of people warrantless. You know, it's a joke. It's a joke. But raised money, hope it goes to the right people. I think the difference between a bar girl and a stripper in the States is as follows. Bar girls are economic support for families. Strippers in the U.S. are mostly drugs and mental issues. Well, Michael, it certainly can go to that. That's for sure. Mark, all the best to you. Horace. Curtis's family, her family is loaded. Her mom is a member of the clan that owns a rather large mall chain in the PI. Her mom wanted to make sure I was a man of means, or I would have gotten the boot otherwise. Yeah. Gee, Michael, I'm not, Horace, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how you passed that. Are you sure you're good enough for her? Come on. Ruby, why do most expats going to the Philippines find it difficult to find a highly educated and professional Filipino that's single and no kids? Ruby, it's pretty simple. They don't believe in themselves, they don't have confidence, and they're lazy. They're too lazy to look for that. They're too lazy. Their options are too easy to come by. In other words, my option is to try and date a 25-year-old graduate level engineer, never married or no kids, all right? Or I can date this 21-year-old who her kids live in the province, not here. I don't have to deal with them. And for a small allowance a month, that's where I'm at. And if that turns into something, it does. It's being lazy. It is. At least I don't have to support. No, you don't. Ruby, those Filipinos have lots of options and often prefer to date or marry a local guy. They are often well-traveled and have money coming from wealthy families. Ruby, a lot of expats just aren't willing to put, yes, that's exactly what I was saying, Slick. They're not willing to put in, the effort. It's like Maximus says, they go for the low-hanging fruit. You can pull an overly ripened mango off the tree if you're too lazy to get a ladder and go up the tree to get one that's almost ripe but will be perfect tomorrow. All right? They're just too lazy. Is that a terrible analogy? I'm sorry. Ruby, successful Filipinos don't marry expats. Stop it. Oh, Chosen One, how are you? How's things going, Chosen? Where are you today? You still over in Thailand last I heard, I think. or last I looked. I can't remember, but hope you're doing well. There's the link. Feel free to cam up. That's for sure. We're happy to discuss it. Is the Philippines the island of misfit toys? Is this where all the misfits come? Like most things here, it takes a lot of patience to find a woman like that. Yeah, absolutely. Gail says, I hit on PTSD and I don't think that the Filipino people know who they are dealing with. I've been in conversations with people who have been in theater and the right word can put them back there. Yeah, sure it can. It absolutely can. But at the same time, Gail, they need to get a grip. If the right word can put them back, then they need to get a grip on their own issues, because that's an issue they need to address. Don't go to a fucking foreign country where you have to watch what you say. Don't go somewhere where people don't understand it. Don't think that just because you have PTSD, you get a free pass. You don't. Not in a foreign country. And I don't care what foreign country that is. I know too many men with PTSD who function fine, who never have that problem. And if they're going to have that problem, they shouldn't be here, because this is a land of patience, all right, and understanding. It takes both. Maximus, you just described Dramageddon Grifters Club. I don't know. I don't know the guys. You know what? I've met one vlogger from Dumageddon. That's it. Mike's Philippine retirement. Nice guy. Him and his partner, Janet, I think is her name. I'm pretty sure. Probably. Sorry, Mike, if you see this. I'm not sure. They came to see Angeles City because they felt like they couldn't really talk about Angeles City if they hadn't spent time here. And so they came up and they said, hey, we'd like to sit down and chat with you for a while. That's the only one that I know. Curtis, good conversation today. A lot of good truth. We try to be authentic. We try. You know what? I'm not beholden to other vlogger. You know what? I gotta rephrase that. I am beholden to two other vloggers, okay, for advice, understanding and advice. And I'm not even going to name them. They know who they are. One of them was in here earlier. May still be. I'm beholden to him. I'm beholden to another one for advice. The rest of the vloggers, I'm not beholden to. I will tell them when I don't agree or disagree with what they say. No, two adults talking, speaking. With that being said, YouTube doesn't cover my monthly YouTube nut. We don't make enough money every month to cover software, camera, storage, and internet. All right. When you put all of that together on a monthly basis, we make so little on a monthly basis that I'm not beholden to that money either. So for us, we just try and put out information or entertainment that's reasonable and fun and honest. That's the bottom line. What is considered, Izzy wants to know, what is considered highly educated? Most Philippine college degrees are basically U.S. high school diplomas. You know what? I gotta disagree with part of that, Izzy. There are some excellent universities that I know kids in the U.S. that have got undergraduate degrees. Now we're talking just undergraduate work, okay? Undergraduate degrees that, quite frankly, I wouldn't hire to be a dishwasher at the local Western Sizzler or whatever the local steakhouse is in your area. I don't even think Western Sizzler's open anymore. I just use that as a big generic name. College, undergraduate school across the board is really turned into a woke, ideologically driven, racist, racial issue. And it's apparent. I've seen it in the U.S. I saw it develop in the U.S. I deal with it right now, even though my daughter is in graduate school, all right, or graduate level. She is working on her doctorate in veterinary medicine. At the same time, the college that she goes to, although a private college, definitely has a agenda. All right. So what's highly educated? I think highly educated is at least a bachelor's degree in a science. If you want to be in the liberal arts, highly educated is going to be into the master's level. So highly educated is going to be a bachelor's in science, chemistry, engineering, architecture, hard science, okay? Hard science. Anything else in the Philippines, you may have to go to the master's level. Chosen One, still in Thailand. How you liking it? Now, Chosen One, are you in Pattaya? Because there's several Angeles City bloggers that are going to be in Pattaya this week. Just out of curiosity. Ruby, a lot of expats are easily distracted and find it difficult to keep their eyes on the prize. And Truly Progressive, thank you for dropping in, number one. Yeah, I think he's absolutely correct. Expats, it's kind of like, I see this little shiny. Oh, look, that one's more shiny. Oh, it's always the catchy, shiny thing. And that really is part of it. It's a lack of patience. Izzy and Chris, ouch. My wife family is not rich, and I've never been asked for anything. You know something? Arlene's family never asks for anything, and they are dirt poor. Great people, salt of the earth, great people. Do we help them? Yes, we do. But they never ask for it. They never do. Now, that's just the truth. Elstell, my ex had a college degree, worked for Marcos government, but decided to work in Olongapo as a bar manager when we met in 1988. And isn't that a shame, though? Arstel, did she make more money as a bar manager than she did as a college degree Marcos government employee? That would be interesting, Arstel. Chosen One, Thailand's a great place to be. Happy. Philippines can be dealing with PTSD in their daily life, situations we could never imagine. And Curtis is correct. PTSD doesn't mean you had to be in a war. All right? It does not. It doesn't mean you have to be in the military or PTSD happens in a million different circumstances. So Curtis is absolutely correct. 111, I think Thailand is the misfit toy capital simply because the pay-for-play lifestyle is openly accepted. Well, okay, it certainly is. I mean, we go to Thailand quite a bit. We see it all the time. I am stuck. Daniel Amore. Hey, Daniel, thank you for dropping in. I'm stuck mainly on $50,000 deposit for the visa. Heard the SRRV will be lowered age restriction from 50 to 40, but the deposit stays the same. Bit expensive. Well, okay. So you're talking about getting an SRRV at the age of 40. Under the normal retirement age. Yes. That's going to be expensive. But it's not 50. It's not 50,000. I don't think. I thought it was 20. I could be mistaken. Now you can get. Well, you know what? I haven't looked at the cost of visas in a long time, so I don't have any good information on that. Maybe somebody else here does. Michael says, I busted a buddy's balls for dating a 21-year-old. He's 65. I told him to send her to university for an education if he wants a long-term relationship. He said it'll interfere with his retirement plans. Not a good look. There you go. There you go. And who at 65, now let's be honest again, people, who at 65 wants to be a teacher? How, I mean, are you really want to be a teacher? That's like who at 55 wants to start a family? I don't get it when these older expats get these younger girls pregnant. It's just like, dude, a sociopath in the Philippines. And if you don't think that Filipinos aren't capable of suffering from mental illness or personality disorders, yes, absolutely. The sociopath is 100% correct. You know, I can tell you, we've seen multiple Filipinos suffering from mental illness. All right. And what might be, I'm not a physician I can't diagnose, I'm not a psychologist. I can't diagnose people, but if I didn't know any better, I would say there are certainly people we've seen that have personality disorders, all right, are still. You don't get a free pass for PTSD. A veteran is responsible for their own actions. Doesn't mean they can't live. Exactly. And Arstell's 100% right. You know, in fact, I would venture to say, and I'm going to probably get a ration of shit for this, okay? I would venture to say that veterans have a far more, they have a far better chance of being productive than non-veterans with PTSD. A veteran with PTSD has a far better chance of being productive than a non-veteran with PTSD because the veterans system helps them and reaches out to them, all right? Even if it's just a little, even if it's limited, more than nothing, which is exactly what the private sector does. Ace in Philly, I knew it. No, Ace is definitely not one of my, one of the two blog. I mean, don't get me wrong. I have nothing against Ace. I've had breakfast with him many times. He's a nice guy. He really is. All right. Philly, I actually am beholden to Philly. Philly helped me out a lot, understanding YouTube, getting started in YouTube. He was a great resource, and I appreciate it. And he knows I appreciate it. Izzy, universities which are equivalent to universities which are equivalent or at par to first world countries, not your run-of-the-mill universities in the Philippines. Professionals that pass board licensure that can migrate anytime, anywhere. Yes, indeed. Indeed. And that's 100% true. I mean, think of it. Think of all the Filipino doctors that went to the U.S., had to take the STEP program, pass all the same boards and licensure as American doctors. If they didn't have the background, right, the basic knowledge to do that, they would never have passed it. Okay? The STEP program isn't classes. The STEP program's, almost like a mini internship program. Okay? Think of all the engineers that have gone and passed. Look at Ruby. Ruby's a perfect example. I bet you Ruby had to pass an entirely different university professional registry and licensure in Australia than she did here. I don't think her licensure here made her capable there. I think she had to pass the licensure there as well. Don't get me started on H. Barstool. He is different. Yet the world wants to make it seem like the way to live is social media funded. A lie. Well, of course, Daniel. And Daniel, thank you for joining. I think there are a lot of lazy damn people. Come on. I would love for this to have provided me with a $400,000 a year income in America, where I could get up, I could go here, go there, do this, do that, make my own hours, all right, spout off and everything else, and create videos. No, I had to work for a living. I had to go to school. I had to get educated. I had to pass professional boards. I mean, sure, there are people out there that make $1 million a year on social media. They are few and far between. That passes. Jerry, how you doing, Jerry? How you doing? Still in Cebu. I hope things are going well down there. Horace. Tim, I would be very happy if YouTube paid my internet. Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. It pays my internet. It pays my internet. It pays my eCam the software you see me streaming on right now. It pays that, but it doesn't pay for everything. That's for sure. Book Dano says, why were the baby strawberries crying? Because their parents were in a jam. I saw a meme the other day, showed two strawberries standing beside a coffin, and in the coffin was a jar of strawberry jam, and they said, oh, look, they did such a good job. They preserved him so well. I know you guys didn't find that funny, but it was cute. You'd have to see the meme, but Ruby, I'm sure graduates of UP aren't interested in too many foreigners. I don't know. I have no idea. Trade Winds 780. Thank you, Trade Winds. Thanks for dropping in. And in the end, it's really no different than a Western woman who's married for 4 years, got bored, leaves, takes half your stuff. It's just instead of getting paid by the hour, she gets paid a lump sum. Yeah, maybe. I don't know, Trade Winds. I really and truly don't. I know it happens. I know that it can be devastating. All right. But I think it happens in every country. All right. Divorce, being unhappy and divorce is common all over the world. It really and truly is. It doesn't matter whether it's a Western woman, an Eastern woman. I mean, look at all the single married moms here in the Philippines, okay, that are dating because they can't get a divorce. And if you don't think getting a divorce and they could get half, they would, I'm not talking about UP, Antino, or Mapua like colleges. UP Dillon, I don't know. I don't know, Izzy. I said most. Okay. Michael says, I have a Filipino friend in the USA that has a master's degree in aerospace. Had her credits evaluated for work qualification equal to a bachelor's degree. And that's possible. Who had them evaluated? Where were they evaluated? I mean, is she, if she came out with a master's degree in aerospace engineering, I'm assuming, aerospace engineering, all right, from a small college, and then had her credits evaluated by MIT or by UC Stanford or, some places like that, that shit happens in the U.S. I mean, literally, that happens in the U.S. I know people, I don't know them. Let me rephrase that. I have friends who have kids who graduated, all right, with a undergraduate degree in math, okay, in mathematics, an undergraduate degree, applied to graduate school, and they scored so miserably on the math section of their GRE, they couldn't even get in to a shitty graduate school. It happens. She told you a great fish story on why she's working as a bar manager in a log bar. Did you really believe her? I'm still waiting. I want to know where she made more money. That would be interesting. Filipina Unfiltered Life. There you go. I've actually been to your channel a couple of times. I have two relatives who married bar girls. One is still happily married. Yeah. Why not? It happens. I don't say it happens all the time, but, if, you know what? Let me say it like this. Maybe this is a bad analogy. Maybe I'll take some shit for this. If you can buy a used car, why can't you marry a bar girl? Oh, I bet that gets a ration of shit. Let's see here. I've been watching for a while. I am tardy for checking. Kyle, don't worry about it. I hope you're doing well, Kyle. Michael, do you remember which university she acquired her credits? Paul says, I'm a Vietnam era veteran and a Desert Storm era veteran. I volunteered for Vietnam. Bombed ugly was needed. But ugly, I'm not sure. Maybe a little typo there, Paul. I'm not sure it's coming out across. Curtis, my wife managed a clothing store when we met. Her family are indigenous tribe mountain farmers, proud people who ask for nothing. But we do help them when needed, and there are a lot of good stories. Yeah, Arlene's family doesn't ask for help, but we do help them. We do. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. Arlene loves her siblings, loves her nieces and nephews. Nieces, they're all nieces, okay? And none of them are of dateable age, guys. All nieces. And her sister, and both sisters, and her father. Yeah. What's wrong with helping them? I don't think anything's wrong with helping them. Sean, last time me and my wife visited Zambales, Subic, they looked at us weird because we're the same age. That's possible. I can believe that, Sean. I can. Zambales has got some beautiful beaches, by the way. Ruby, not sure, but she did Philippines military time with that degree. Okay. Retirement is enjoying the last quarter of your life, not going backwards to raise kids all over again. Most likely won't be physically active in raising that child to adult. I agree. You know what, Ruby? You say, I agree with the last half of what you said, but the first half I'd like to say something different. Retirement today is the first page of the rest of your life. That's the bottom line. Sorry, I tried to delete my last post. Okay. Truly progressive Mike, the PRA just substantially increased the deposits required by their SRRV visas almost across the board. I heard they increased them. I heard there was no increase for the courtesy retirement visa for military. But the rest of it, I don't know anything about. Truly progressive. But, I'm sure. Arstel Maximus, get real. She had her college degree and documents showing her work as a teacher and government employee when we processed her U.S. visa. Mike, your live stream inspired me. I'm going to get off my ass and find a job. Yeah, Richie, I want you to go out and find a job, all right? And you know what, Richie? I'll tell you exactly. I want you to go down to P. Borges. I want you to go to Plan B, and I want you to go be their new bar manager. That's what you need to do, Richie. And don't let Chang, I'm sorry, but I think that Richie could do some absolute good down there. Mike, I disagree with you. The Filipino doctors come to the U.S. don't have the same qualification. No, they don't. They don't, Paul, but they pass the exams. And if they go through the STEP program and pass the exams, that's the start. Do they have the same widely diversified training? No, they don't. Do they get that? I mean, they do not. They absolutely, they don't have access. I mean, if you go to a teaching institution, a teaching hospital, if you're doing your residency at a teaching hospital, 9 times out of 10, that teaching hospital has everything state of the art. That's how come they're a teaching hospital. And if you're doing a residency at a teaching hospital, that residency program, 99.9% of the time, everything is going to be state of the art. So they don't have exposure to that. You're absolutely true. But they're smart enough to get it. Some Philippines universities use curriculum from Western universities like Johns Hopkins. All right. My wife went to a nursing school, Diplog Medical University, that used their nursing program. Michael, I can understand that. Is she in the U.S.? Did she pass the NCLEX? Did she pass it the first time, Michael? That'd be my first question. Is Ace still out there? I don't get his videos on my feed anymore. Yeah, I got a video in my feed this morning from him. That was messed up. The strawberry joke made me laugh. The meme was funny. All right, I apologize. Richie Reach Abroad, Mike, your live stream has inspired me. I got to go stop being lazy. I'm going to get off. Yep, Richie, I already addressed that. It's posted 3 times. My fiance has a bachelor's in IT from Cebu Institute of Technology. I met her while looking for an IT for some computer issues. My IT guy in the States saw her work, says she's better than him. Okay. That's great. That would be a high mileage woman. Yeah, it'd be a high mileage woman. Who cares? Who cares? You'd be buying a high mileage car. I mean, isn't that? Arlene's looking at me. What have I done wrong? Oh, you're going to up and down the. All right. So Arlene's doing her morning exercise, of which first she does her treadmill, then she does her weights, and then she goes and runs up and down the stairwell. Okay, walk. My fault. Mike, I never asked her about her government income. She left her position when the Marcos government was forced out. Okay. Thank you, Arstel. Here's an idea for people to follow. Your earnings must never match your spending. Yeah, no shit, Kyle. That is pretty basic, I would think. I would think that's pretty basic. I bet you know what, Kyle, you're right. There's a lot of people that don't listen to that. Let's see here. Don't forget, if you want to, you can email us directly. That's for sure. SRV changes start September 1st. Wow. Gail, I totally agree with the statement that retirement is the first day of your life. The past is the past. You can't change it. Put it all behind you and move forward. Yeah. Kyle, that's basic economics. Money coming in should be greater than the money going out. Unfortunately, most people. Yeah. Ruby and I have had this discussion numerous times. Back on Mike's Philippine journey, Ruby and I were the biggest proponents of learning to live in a budget and learning to save money. It didn't go very far with a lot of people, unfortunately. Curtis Scotterones asked to help teach some physical ed classes at the high school. Staying busy. There you go, Curtis. Have a great day. Thank you, Curtis. Mike, what do you consider the best hospital in Manila for serious medical conditions? Just wondering. You're going to maybe hear people that will argue with me, Sean. Okay? I would think there are two major, I would go with St. Luke's, and they have two locations. One deals with more of a sickness type. One deals more with oncology type. All right. And Asian Doctors. Asian Doctors Hospital is an excellent, excellent facility. Mike, talking about money, it's not hard to figure out you're a multimillionaire. Everyone chooses a path in life. Oh, no, Michael, I am not a multimillionaire. I am not. I am not a multimillionaire. All right? And we're going to leave it at that. People can be happy with studying scale of income. Yeah, absolutely. My ex went to work for the Del Rosaria of family who owns a few of the businesses in Olongapo. She had a degree, so they made her a manager. Ah, there you are. Thumbs up. Thank you, Kyle. I certainly appreciate it. So many guys looked down at bar girls, but they don't look down at the gold-digging divorcee. Yeah, Tradewinds has a really... You look down at bar girls, okay? But you won't look down at people that purposefully have no intent other than to take advantage of you. Okay? I'll just tell you right now, it gets, I understand where Tradewinds is coming from. Sorry I deleted that comment, but still showed up here. It's okay, Richie. I wouldn't care less. Alan retired in the Philippines. Good morning from Kalinga. Pray for peace between Thailand and Cambodia. Yeah, I hope they don't, I hope they quit blowing each other up. That's for sure. I like Thailand. I really do. Maximus, I have a Filipino-American friend that went to medical school in the Philippines, then did his residency in the U.S., and now practicing. Yeah, absolutely. There's an entire, so what they do is they go to medical school here in the Philippines. Then they enroll in what's called the STEP program, all right, STEP program in the U.S. And that is where they will start their actual residency program, but they have like an extra year of it. They have to pass the STEP program to get into that residency program. Then once they're in the residency program, they're good to go. All right. But they've got to pass all the same boards, all the same exact boards. My Phil-Am niece went to medical school, University of the East in Manila because it's cheaper. She's now practicing physician with Kaiser Permanente. Yeah. Again, you can do that. There are good physicians here. All right. I just wouldn't work here for what they pay. There is no way I would practice medicine here in the Philippines for what I would get paid. And I just, not when I can get literally 8 to 10 times that in the U.S. or in Hong Kong. SRRV changes take effect September 1 if 50 plus without a pension deposits $30K was 20. 50 plus with a pension deposit $15K was 10. Military unchanged. There you go. So 111 looked it up. Like I said, we have great viewers, great subscribers. They help each other. 111. I couldn't have looked it up unless I broke free from you guys. Holy shit, it's AJ. Hoppa, how are you? How's the supervisor? How's things going up in your neck of the woods? Thanks for dropping. My wife had to drop out of nursing school when her sister lost her job in Ireland. She got a midwifery degree, but no good in the U.S. No, midwives are nothing in the U.S. They're nothing. Wet Pangasinina. AJ, are you having any problem with the flooding or just wet? Hector Gupta, I think my friend also went to medical school at the University of the East as well. Hello. Everybody's saying hey to Hoppa. We haven't seen him in a while. Is the spouse visa the same charges after August 1? I have to bite the bullet and get one. So, Horace, are you talking about the 13A visa? If so, once you've got it, you just got to renew it. I don't think the fee to renew has been changed. I've had my 13A for a long time, so I couldn't tell you. Mike, most of the friends will compliment you on your used car as opposed to you marrying a bar girl. Yeah, I get, you know what? I got some friends, though, that would be like ecstatic on the bar girl issue. But you're right, Rick. The vast majority of them are going to like that used car better. But I do understand what you mean. Good day. Hope your dog is kept dry. Hillbilly Pyro. Did I miss Pyro? Where is he? Sean, health is wealth. It is to a certain degree. I can't argue with that. Kumasta, and she's right under the Cleopatra Lounge, hiding from the rain. Nice. Hillbilly Pyro, there he is. My first hospital experience in Toledo City was entering. The hospital was like something from a bad dream, dirty, old equipment. But the staff was great, and the doctors and nurses knew their stuff. They learned to work with limited resources. That's the best I can tell you. I would not, look, Pyro, you and I are on the same wavelength on many things. I would be very hesitant to go to a quote-unquote community hospital. Money can't buy you happiness is a lie told by the rich to keep the poor from rioting. I think there's some truth to that, Horace, to your statement that it's a lie. All right? Money can buy, sure, and money can help you be not as miserable. That's for sure. Gail, women are hypergamous by nature, and men tend to lead with their wallet. Women want stability and security, and as expats, we provide that for something that they are giving away for free to Filipinos. I'd have to think about that, Gail. Mike, enrolling in the STEP program, does it include processing of the visa requirement? No, it does not. Absolutely not. You have to get a sponsor, all right? So what'll happen is you have to get a H-1B visa, I think it is, and the program will sponsor you. And not all programs are able to sponsor people. Okay? And once you're done, their sponsorship ends. Your ass has to then convert to a green card that'll allow you to work. It is not the easiest process. I have two sisters currently in the nursing program in Systems Plus here in Angeles. Plan is for both to go to the U.S. to work. Both are dual Philippine-U.S. citizens. Yeah. Arstel, we know a couple of girls that are in the Systems Plus program, and I've sat down with them in the past and chatted with them a couple of times about how they study and what they study. Their program seems to be pretty thorough. Hapa says, my daughter has full scholarship for her teacher schooling, and the U.S. will assist with the J-1 visa. There you go. Maybe it's a J-1 visa. I haven't looked at those in such a long time. My wife went to urgent care for a flu in the U.S. A Filipino doctor from Manila asked her when her eardrum ruptured. She had no idea. Not even U.S. visa medical exam. USA visa medical exam did not tell her since she had surgery to fix it. Wow. Alan retired. I just got notice today from Remitly starting in 2006. There will be a 1% expat tax sending money from the States to the Philippines. Yeah, Alan. Now, what's in question right now about that 1%, the question is if you fund it with a bank card, if you fund it with an ATM card, if you fund it with a credit card, all right, or an ACH transfer, is it taxed? That question has not been completely answered yet. Filipino medical practitioners prefer to remain and work in the Philippines for lower wages compared to first world countries. However, in the Phils, they live comfortably with live-in house. Yeah, some do, Ruby. Some do. And there's their job security, but I will tell you this: their practice to live comfortably is much different. In other words, both of my interventional cardiologist, my endocrinologist, okay, both of them have to practice at 3 different hospitals. And they have to go, they're at 2 of those hospitals every day. So in other words, they have to start at one hospital, end up at another hospital. They have patients, office hours at both hospitals, okay? It's a pain. It's a lot of work. And when you're talking about you have to get in the car, drive from Clark to AUF, and you got held up. I mean, it's not uncommon for my doctors to be an hour and a half late to get to their appointments. There's minor flooding in the area. I'm on high ground, but there's a bunch of dengue. Oh, wow. Dengue's starting up already. Woo. Of the 40 to 50 of my girlfriend's family, I have met 90% good character and are aware of the 10 that are poor, mostly some well off. All of our Lynn's family are just normal, simple province people, and they're good. Money can't buy happiness, but you can rent some for a short time. Yeah, money can cure misery. It may not buy you happiness, but it can stop you from being miserable. Maximus, Doc Mike, if your friends are impressed with your used car and want to test drive it, will they also be... I knew that was coming, Maximus. I knew that was coming. I thought to myself, shortly after I said that, I thought to myself, somebody's going to say something. Leave it to Maximus for that. I'd rather cry in a Mercedes than laugh on a bicycle. Yeah, horse has got a point. James says, we have a new city hospital right across the street from me. People go in, but never come out. Well, that's not a good sign, James. I would keep up with that. AJ, 11-year-old boy died recently because he refused to eat and the family's belief using the village. Yeah. That is a problem. That is a problem. And I don't know how you get by that kind of stuff. Hillbilly Pyro was just for a few stitches and x-rays. I was ran off the road and crashed my new bike. Oh, I hope the bike's okay. I hope you're okay. All right. Hillbilly, I hope you're doing all right. We have a Filipino friend, Michael, who got her nursing degree in the USA. 3 years in, she's making 150. Yeah. No doubt. No doubt at all. And that's probably working in a hospital or in a highly specialized area. I can tell you right now, 15 years ago, I wouldn't hire a nurse that didn't have 2 years experience in med surg. But if she had and 1 year experience in in any ICU. But if they had that experience, I had a nurse in every one of my clinics, and starting pay 15 years ago was $95,000 a year. And those back then, that was a 9 to 5, actually 8 to 5 job, hour for lunch. Okay, Monday through Friday. Only one of those clinics was open on the weekends, and of that one, all right, more than one, but of all the clinics that were open on the weekends, we did non-contrast. We did procedures that didn't include anything invasive on Saturdays whatsoever. And that was 15 years ago. So for an ICU nurse or a CVRU nurse or anything like that, or a nurse manager even, to make $150 a year, I don't doubt that for a minute. Or still, can't they study at AUF instead of System Plus? I don't know what that would be. Does AUF actually have a nursing program, or are they just affiliated with other nursing programs for the girls to do clinicals? I think that might be part of it. I don't know. I just seen on the news the other day of big shortage of nurses in the States, and should make work visas easier for the Philippines. They should. They should. I don't know why I know why there's a big nursing shortage, okay? But there's no need for there to be, you don't need a 4-year undergraduate degree to qualify to take the NCLEX. You don't need a bachelor's degree. You can get it, all right? You can do it without a bachelor's degree. There are community colleges that have blitz sessions where you can pick up 3 years in 2 years, and then for the nursing. So, I mean, there's a wealth of it. I don't know. I don't have an option for that. I don't. But there is a shortage. There's no doubt. Mike, it is. Systems Plus built a new school building for the nursing program. Both are attending using my father's VA, Chapter 30. Great. See, what a great benefit. What an outstanding benefit, Arstel. That's tremendous. Mike, need your reference to endocrinologist when we finally settle next. Yeah, sure. I have a great endocrinologist. I really do. She is terrific. And she is mostly on time. Okay? So when you get back, let me know. I'll set you up. She's great. I'm not the best patient. You may not want to use my name around her. I'm kidding. She knows me well. Gail says, I would definitely date an ex-bar girl. Lipstick is cheaper than going to Arby's. And just because these girls are experienced doesn't mean that they are bad people. You know what? I'm going to tell you right now, after ex-wife number 2, I swore on my grave. I said, the only thing I'm going to pay attention to is my daughter. I am not going to date, and I'm never going to get married again. I'm going to devote the next 4 years of my life 100% to my daughter because I want her thoroughly prepared. So what did I do? I dated nothing but strippers for 2.5 of those 4 years. 2.5. I never brought them to the house when my daughter was there. They never interfaced with my daughter, nothing like that. Okay? And I will tell you right now, there are bad girls and then there are good girls. And that goes all the way across the board. Absolutely all the way across. I knew a stripper who, I swear to God, I knew her when she was, I knew her family. She was 17 years old, ran away from home. She was into drugs, nothing serious. She was just smoking a lot of weed. Okay? She was a stripper. At 19, she decided to go to nursing school. She graduated like 7th in her class, all right, from Arizona State University, Arizona State, ASU, all right, nursing school. She owns her own, I don't know, aesthetic company now. She's like a private, yeah. I mean, she does great. And she was a stripper. So, my doctor here told me that I have Tom Jones syndrome. I asked if that was rare. He replied, that is not the usual. Okay. Ruby, AUF had some crazy prerequisites. System Plus doesn't. Systems Plus has a great program now. Yeah, and a lot of times it's all about where you can get them in. Mike, what's faster, a used car or a bar girl? It depends on whether you're using leaded or unleaded. AUF is registered and recognized. That's why the requirements are stricter. Yeah, I don't know. I don't keep up with it. I got no kids that are going there. So is Systems Plus. We checked on it when they registered. Gail says, as many Filipino families can only afford one, maybe two children to go to college, you don't see extended courses happening as many are pushed to go to work as soon as possible. It's a sign of the times. It's like that in the U.S. as well. There are tons and tons of bright, intelligent kids in the U.S. that just can't afford to go to school. They have to be in the workplace. That shit happens. The Philippines doesn't have a lock on being limited. The Philippines doesn't have that. I mean, there's just as bad as shit in some other places. Aloha all. I need to head out, check the area before we feed the doggos. Take care, AJ. Have a great day. Thank you for dropping in. My Filipino wife is the best nurse I could ever have. There you go. Have a great day, everyone. What was that midlife crisis for you, Mike? Dating only bar girls and strippers? No, I didn't date bar girls. Okay? Let's redefine that. Okay? I dated strippers only for 2 years because I just was dedicated to not getting involved with anybody or anything that was going to take me away from my daughter. Period. And how was it? It pretty much was what you expected. It was financially foolish. It was narcissistic. It was self-centered. It was everything that you would think. Okay? I mean, I didn't give a shit. I really and truly didn't. And my only disadvantage, I think the one saving grace I had is that strippers don't take credit cards. I had to have cash. And, that slowed me down just a little bit. AUF has been around longer with their nursing program and fills up quickly, I'm sure. Bad joke, I guess. Arstel, good luck with your nieces. Horse, it had potential. So, but that's kind of what it was. Now, I'm going to put the link up one more time. If you would like to cam up and discuss anything, I would certainly be happy to have you. Was your daughter aware of your days? No, she wasn't. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. My daughter never met one of them. Never. Well, let me rephrase that. My daughter never knowingly met one. All right. And what I mean by that is so you know how superficial strippers are. Okay? And so Fashion Square is the big shopping center in Scottsdale. Very expensive, very posh, all the big brand name, Louis Vuitton, whole 9 yards. All right. On occasion, Dad would take his daughter shopping. Okay. I would take my daughter shopping to Fashion Square. All right. Probably because, and sometimes because she would have friends. So I'd take them all to Fashion Square. And for a little bit, just to get an idea of what they were up to, I would tag along with them, and then I would make myself scarce. So it wouldn't be, Fashion Square is also a big place where all the strippers go shopping. You know how narcissistic strippers are. So it would not, I wouldn't say it wasn't unusual. But what I would say is it did happen on more than one occasion. I would be with my daughter and run into a stripper that I had gone on a date with. And it would be just a casual, hi, hello. They knew. Don't even interface. They knew it. So, no, my daughter never knew. She does now, all right? She does now, all right? But she never knew. Absolutely not. Mike, you seem happier than usual, which is a good thing. Perhaps a couple of cocktails are... No. In fact, Gail, it's 10:30 in the morning right now. Let's see. I want to see if this is going to work. I want to do this, and I'm going to do this. Let's see. Richie Rich. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I hear you. We're going to move this down here. How you doing today?
Outstanding as always. How about yourself?
Doing well. What are you all buttoned up and zipped up? I mean, Chen got the air conditioner on frigid or what?
No, I'm just representing my colors. It's almost football season.
Where'd you go? You went to USC?
Just for law school. I went to undergrad at University of Montana.
At University, but you went to USC. Man, I got to tell you, they broke my heart about,
Me too.
I want to say it was like maybe 10, 12 years ago. So I went to undergraduate school at Carolina.
Okay.
And USC beat the living shit out of us in basketball one time. Pissed me off.
Right.
Hold on. Arlene says I have an echo. Does anybody else hear an echo?
I turned my sound off. My sound for off on the other side. So hopefully it's not me calling back.
And maybe I'm picking something up there. We'll put it there.
I wanted to get your take on the video that Filipino Pete did last week with the guy who said his friend. I don't know if you did. I don't know if you discussed this already. So if you have, I apologize in advance. But I wanted to get your take on the guy who said he had a friend, an American friend, in prison or jail, and he had been in prison for 3 years because he got into an argument with his girlfriend, his Filipino girlfriend. Are you familiar with that one?
I'm familiar with the story. The original video came out from a guy named Steven, Through the Eyes of an Expat.
Right.
Several people have called bullshit on it. I saw you called bullshit on it. It's my understanding that Filipina, and I haven't seen her video, but it's my understanding she had an attorney on, and the attorney said, hey, look, you know what? If that was the case, there was a whole lot more involved. And I find it hard to believe, essentially, is what he was saying. With that being said, I think this goes back to what I've said before. And that is, you know something? YouTube is either information, and you got to take it for what it's worth. There's a lot of embellishment and lies, or it's entertainment, and there's a lot of embellishment and lies. And so I don't mind saying I don't believe the story. I don't mind saying that I think that you've got to have a whole lot more. I mean, I think that type of scenario would have been handled on a different level before jail even. So I don't know. I mean, what's your life? You did a video about it. What did your folks say about that?
Well, I mean, we covered. I went into the fact that Filipino Pete did a good job of bringing the attorney on, and he explained a lot of basically what you said. How it seemed pretty far fetched, the whole thing, and it would have had to happen. So many other things would have had to happen for him to be in jail for 3 years without bail. So there's a lot missing to the story. There's a lot that wasn't told. And I want to make it clear, as I did on my live stream, I wasn't trying to throw shade on Filipino Pete at all. Not at all, because I think she does a great job. I just think the guy telling the story, it was a secondhand story, and I think there was just some facts that were left out as all.
Well, I think there's a lot of embellishment.
For sure.
I can say that in all the years that we've lived in the Philippines, I've never had the plethora of stories that some people come up with. And I've only lived here 3 years or 2 years. It's like, man, are you out there hitting the twilight zone every other day? I mean, what's going on? I don't know, but it is different. So what are you and Chang up to next? I mean, folks, by the way, this is Richie Rich. You should take a look at his channel. Let's see here. Arlen says, I'm going to.
We have a couple of videos coming out this week that will definitely have people talking. That's for
okay.
Sure.
So you guys have got something good coming up?
Yeah, tomorrow morning we'll release our next video. I won't tell you the title, but if we're in your feed, it'll pop up. There's a promotion in the feed.
Okay, great.
Thanks, Mike. I won't stay on your show. I won't keep you. I appreciate you having me on.
Well, thanks for. I wasn't even sure this new format was working correctly, but it is. All right. Take care, Rich, and we'll talk to you later.
All right, take care, Mike.
Okay, and then I will switch that back there, and then let me see here. Let me refocus this, and I don't know what's going on here. This should. Let me reset this. Okay, hang on a second. I got to figure out why that scaled down. You folks are going to have to bear with me for just a minute. So if I go here, then I go here, and then I go, did that work? Okay, that works. Alan, have a great day. Do you remember Ethel Premium? Yeah, I remember it. I wasn't driving in the 60s. I'm not quite that old. But you know what? I was buying it for my dirt bikes, so yeah. I will say that Indian doctors have no sense of humor. They were pissed when I said my dad wanted his enema treatments. He was going to hospice, and they're trying to laugh. That's funny. I've never had an Indian doctor, so I can't tell you. Ruby says, I never met or knew any stripper my entire life, so I wouldn't have a clue. Well, but Ruby, you mean you've never met one that you knew was a stripper? I think you might be surprised. Okay? It's not something that they all really advertise. Ruby, thanks. My sister-in-law is a nurse with a doctorate working for the VA. She's offered to help out my sisters when they get good deal. Dickie Spaz. Oh my God, I haven't seen Dickie in a while. Thanks for dropping in. Phoenix area community colleges offer both an ADN and an accelerated BSN in partnership with Grand Canyon and ASU. The better hospitals are magnet and won't look at you with without a BSN. Now that is true. Dickie's correct. A vast majority of teaching hospitals and major hospitals will not hire nurses that either are not BSNs or currently past their NCLEX and in a BSN program. And they have a deadline. So yes, that is true. Echo on Echo. Okay. I don't know, but I apologize. I'm sorry. College is a waste of time for many. My kid went to a technical school. He's a heavy equipment operator, makes great money, invested in a septic system pump truck, makes $100. Perfect. Entrepreneurs, the world needs them. I got to figure out what was going on. I got to find out. All right, I'll have to take a look and see. James go, for sobriety to function well, we should have a balance of tradies and professionals, construction workers. You know what? Ruby's correct. Let me tell you something. I have a lot of respect for construction workers, trade school workers. All right. I'm as mechanically inclined as this pen. All right. In fact, our Lynn is currently scraping paint, plastering, putting skim coat, and sanding and painting our guest bed, our master bedroom, due to an issue, and she's better at it than I am. All right. I didn't change the oil in my car. Oh, that's not true. In the early days when I was in high school and undergrad, I did. Okay. But you wouldn't want me to work on your car. You wouldn't want me to wire your house. You wouldn't want me to make a set of book stands or any. I mean, there is an art to being a good tradesman, and I don't have it, but people need it. I've been following this story about the guy who spent 3 years for an argument. Apparently, he split with his girlfriend. She found out he was with another woman. She got mad. Yeah, I haven't been following it. I really and truly haven't. I'm not big into that kind of stuff. So, sorry about the sound. I think this was my fault for having my mic too close to the speaker. We'll figure it out, Richie. Don't worry. That female was basically extorting for money because she would drop the case if you paid X amount of money. He's not going to pay or make it guy look guilty except being blacklisted. Again, I just don't know. Darren from Davao. How you doing, Darren? How's things going? Are you guys getting any flooding down there? Richie, no worries. No biggie, Richie. Richie, there's no way to tell if they're a stripper unless you go to their place of work. And that is true. That's true. If they don't want you to know they're a stripper, you're not going to know. All right? You really are not. I take that back. If they've got a half a brain, they're not going to dress like a stripper when they go to the mall. They're not going to dress like a stripper when they go to dinner. You're not going to know. Even in the United States, if you do online courses, many institutions will not honor them. So it's not just people coming out from overseas. Sure. And Gail, a lot of it has to do with where you do these online courses. Okay? Not all online education is created equal. That's for sure. There have been major lawsuits in the United States against, the Apollo Group, which University of Phoenix is affiliated with, and a couple of other trade schools are affiliated with. And these guys were just enrolling everybody and getting them student loans and making a fortune. And their education is shit. Absolute shit. Now, I'm not saying you can't get a good education there. But what I am saying is there's a lot of lawsuits. Been a lot. Well, Trump University was another one. But I don't know if that was an online university or not. So, all right, folks. 2 hours, 19 minutes. It is time for me to get motivated. I want to thank everybody. I want to also remind everybody, please send me an email. Give me an idea how much, and we'll keep this totally anonymous because I'm working on a video. I'd like to know how much your monthly budget in pesos or dollars will be or is in the Philippines. Okay? You don't have to tell me how much you make. You don't have to tell me what your benefit is. But if you want to, that's great. But I would be interested to know. I would also be interested. Well, you know what? It'll come out. All right? Take care, Ruby. Take care, Rick. Take care. Everybody else, take care. Thank you so much for joining us. We certainly appreciate it.